My younger brother, David, has always harbored a deep resentment toward me. If you think it stems from jealousy, you're wrong. He was a favored child, not me. There was never a reason for him to feel envious. To give you some context, our mother always doted on David. He was a golden child, the one who could do no wrong. She cooked his meals, did his laundry, and even asked me to help him with his homework. I was expected to assist simply because we were family, but I never received the same consideration in return. I accepted it because I was independent. Maybe that was my mistake, always meeting his needs without expecting anything back. David never helped me when I needed it. He only came to me when he wanted something. While I was a quiet, introverted kid who preferred studying and keeping to myself, David was loud and rough, just like our dad. I've always been straightforward, never sugarcoating things. So let me get straight to the point. I'm Alex, the older brother, and I've always felt like an outsider in my own family. I feel like a shadow, always lingering in the background, never really seen. You know how some people joke that their parents love their siblings more? For me, it's not a joke, but it's not just about love. Sometimes I feel like I don't even exist to them. People look at our family and see a perfect picture. Good kids, good jobs, a house filled with love. But that's just the surface. The reality? I'm suffocating in a home where no one seems to notice I'm there. My mother is an incredible school teacher. She spends hours helping her students, celebrating their achievements, and guiding them through struggles. She's the type of teacher who remembers birthdays and stays late to tutor kids. But when it comes to me, nothing. I don't even get a simple, "How was your day?" without feeling like I have to beg for it. I get good grades. I do my homework. I never cause trouble. And yet, no praise. No recognition. No, I'm proud of you, Alex. It's like I'm background noise, a hum in the distance that no one pays attention to. There were times I tried to make her see me, to make her notice, but it felt like screaming into a void, like trying to get someone's attention in a room full of deafening noise. And then there's David. David, the golden child, 12 years old. I've never seen someone get more praise for doing less. He could bring home a B on a test, and Mom would act like it was an A+. He doesn't even try half as hard as I do, yet he gets all the smiles, the hugs, the extra attention. If David breaks something, it's okay, we'll fix it. If I make a mistake, I get a lecture. I get told I should have known better. I get reminded, over and over, how I failed. I didn't ask to be ignored. I didn't ask to feel unworthy of love or attention. But that's how it feels, like I'm a constant disappointment. And I don't even know why. Dad isn't much better. He's 50, works in finance, and is always buried in his job. I can count on one hand how many real conversations we've had, ones that weren't about school or chores. He doesn't ask about my life. He doesn't seem interested in me at all. He laughs with David, jokes with him, spends time with him. And I just stand there watching a family that doesn't feel like mine. I feel like I'm standing outside a house, looking in through a window, wishing I belonged. When I was younger, I thought that if I tried harder, if I got better grades, if I was more obedient, maybe they'd notice me. But the older I got, the more I realized it was never about effort. It was about being visible. And I wasn't. At school, I was just as invisible. I've had no real friends since 6th grade. In elementary school, I was too afraid to approach anyone. I watched others form bonds while I stood in the background, stuck inside my own head. By high school, I had given up. I stopped trying. I just sat at the back of the class, hoping no one would notice me. But there was one thing I excelled at: school. I got A's. I did my work. I followed the rules. Because in academics, at least I could be seen, or so I thought. One year, I won 2 awards from 2 different teachers. For the first time, someone acknowledged me. Someone saw me. For a moment, I felt like I wasn't invisible. But when I got home, nothing. No celebration. No praise. Just David getting his usual attention. And me, just there like always. I guess that's what hurts the most. No matter how much effort I put in, no matter how much I achieve, it's never enough. It's like I'm screaming, desperate for someone to hear me. But no one ever does. David doesn't just ignore me. He enjoys making me feel small. I've always been the butt of his jokes, the one he finds amusement in tormenting. At first, it was harmless pranks, sly remarks, small annoyances. But over time, it escalated. He didn't just tease me. He hurt me. One of the first times I realized how cruel he could be was when we went swimming together. Mom told me to take David along, because, of course, I had to be the responsible older brother. I thought maybe it would be a fun day, a rare chance to bond. I was wrong. I changed into my swimwear and placed my clothes in a corner near the pool. But when I came back, my clothes were gone. At first, I thought I had just forgotten where I left my clothes. But after searching everywhere and coming up empty, I knew something was wrong. Then I saw David standing near a public trash bin, a smug smile on his face. I walked up to him and asked, "David, where's my stuff?" He merely shrugged before delivering a line that I would never forget. "Who told you to leave your stuff lying around?" His words hit me like a slap. My stomach twisted as I turned towards the trash bin, only to find my clothes tossed carelessly inside, as if they were nothing more than garbage. My breath caught in my throat. I stood there, frozen, unable to process what had just happened. Because of David's prank, I couldn't change in time, which meant missing class, and more importantly, missing my presentation. A week's worth of hard work, gone, all because of David's cruel joke. When I finally arrived in class, it was too late. My professor had already marked my presentation as a failure. I had worked tirelessly, preparing every detail, making sure I was ready, only for it to be ruined by a childish act. What hurt even more was that no one in my family truly understood how serious this was. They dismissed it as just a prank. But to me, it was more than that. It was another moment in a long list of moments where I felt invisible, unprotected, and utterly alone. David had always been this way, tormenting me, making me feel like I didn't belong. My younger brother, the so-called golden child, could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. While he basked in their love and attention, I was left in the shadows, only acknowledged when I managed to do something they deemed worthy. It was a cycle I had endured for as long as I could remember. It started with harmless pranks, little jabs here and there. But over time, David's actions escalated beyond mere mischief. He didn't just tease me, he deliberately hurt me. And no one did anything to stop him. Every time he targeted me, it felt like I was just a pawn in his endless game of cruelty. One of the first times I truly realized how malicious he could be was during a trip to the swimming pool. Mom had insisted that I take David along, saying it was my responsibility as the older brother to look after him. I thought it would be a fun day, a chance to relax. But David had other plans. After changing into my swimwear, I placed my clothes in a corner near the pool, certain I would find them there later. When I returned, they were gone. Panic set in as I searched every possible place, hoping I had simply misplaced them. But when I saw David standing near a trash bin with that same smug smile, I knew. My stomach dropped as I approached him and demanded an answer. Once again, he shrugged and delivered that same infuriating line. "Who told you to leave your stuff lying around?" I couldn't believe it. And when I peered into the bin, I saw my clothes, crumpled, dirty, discarded like they were nothing. It was humiliating. I had no choice but to endure the consequences. Missing class, missing my presentation, and ultimately failing. Yet, even after all of this, my family failed to see the gravity of the situation. They brushed it off as an overreaction. For years, I had swallowed my anger, forced myself to endure. But one day, I reached my breaking point. I decided to speak to my father. I walked into his study, met his gaze, and laid it all out. "Dad, David has hurt me too many times. I can't take it anymore. Why does everyone let him treat me this way?" For a long time, my father just stared at me. Then, without a word, he stood up and walked out of the room. I had no idea what he was going to do. But shortly after, I saw David enter the house, looking unusually uneasy. Mom wasn't around. And then my father did something unexpected. He spoke up. "David," he said, his tone firm but calm, "you can't keep treating your brother this way. Alex is your brother, and you need to respect him. Your jokes aren't harmless. You need to change your behavior. It was the first time someone in my family had ever stood up for me. For the first time, I felt a spark of hope. David didn't change overnight, but at least he stopped tormenting me in front of my father. That alone gave me a sense of peace, however small. Time passed, and eventually I left home for college. I was relieved to escape the suffocating atmosphere of my childhood home, eager to embrace a new chapter of independence. College was tough, but it was also liberating. I worked part-time to support myself, pushing through exhaustion and stress, determined to build a life free from my family's judgment. And slowly, my hard work paid off. I earned a scholarship. My professors began to recognize my efforts. And for the first time, I felt like I was truly becoming someone. Then I met Karen. She was a senior, a year older than me, with a quiet confidence that instantly drew me in from our very first conversation. It felt like we had known each other forever. Our relationship grew quickly, and Karen became my anchor, my safe space. She understood me in a way no one else ever had. I worked hard to provide for us, balancing my part-time job and studies, ensuring Karen had everything she needed while she searched for a stable job. It wasn't easy. There were moments of stress, times when I felt overwhelmed, but we supported each other through everything. Or so I thought. Then came the betrayal. It started as a small suspicion, a gut feeling I couldn't ignore. One night, I saw Karen's phone light up, a message from a colleague that was too intimate for just work-related talk. My heart pounded as I confronted her, and that's when the truth unraveled. Karen had cheated. Not once, but twice. First with a colleague, then with an ex-boyfriend. What shocked me the most wasn't just a betrayal, but the fact that I forgave her. Maybe it was because of our child. Maybe it was because, despite everything, I still loved her. I told myself I could move past it. But deep down, the wound festered. Then came the ultimate betrayal. During a family gathering, something about Karen's behavior struck me as odd. She avoided eye contact, especially with David. A creeping suspicion took hold of me, a terrible thought I didn't want to acknowledge. But when I finally confronted Karen, she confessed the unthinkable. She had been cheating on me with David, my own brother. For years, my world crumbled. The woman I had built a life with, the brother who had tormented me for years, both had betrayed me in the worst possible way. And to make it worse, Karen wasn't even certain if our child was mine. When I confronted Karen, she didn't even try to deny it. She didn't beg for forgiveness. She simply blamed me, claiming I had been too focused on work and studies, that I hadn't given her enough attention. She showed no remorse, no guilt, just cold indifference. I couldn't live with the betrayal. I couldn't pretend. So I made the hardest decision of my life. I filed for divorce. Telling my parents the truth was painful. My mother was devastated. My father, silent with disappointment. David, for once, had no words. And as I walked away from the family I once longed to be part of, I felt something unexpected. Relief. For the first time in my life, I was free.